right.
Diba?
All right. So, Narda, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us here for Radio Disiotso. My name is Prim, and I just wanted to know before we get the interview started, like, can you tell us who Narda is and who we have here with us today?
Hi, hi. I'm Ryan. I'm the drummer of Narda. Well, I founded Narda in 2002, summer of 2002, along with Wincy, with our former band back then. Uh, it was Lillian, and we were looking for a vocalist back then. And one of our common friends referred Katu uh, to us, and Katu tried out for the band, and some of the band members didn't agree. But I believed in Katu, right? And I believe that she can sing the songs that I wrote. And Wincy had some tunes already written back then. And then eventually the band didn't pan out. And we started to form Narda on our own with Katu. And
Mhm.
we tried Wincy's song. It was Crime Fighting Mama. Okay, along with the other songs that came about with our first EP. Okay, our first EP, A Postcard From. Okay, other band members back then, well, uh, um, we with my co-worker, I think with Ed, yeah, and a common friend with my former band, JV Javier. Um, and then we just jammed, and we eventually we got the tunes that and the sound that we liked. It was a sound wherein it was different, because Wincy and I, yeah, we like more melodic stuff. We're more into the Beatles, we're more into the songwriting, more into Beatles, more into Oasis. And for me, at least, the sound that was I was finding was more of like the Cardigans, right?
Okay.
Uh, the songs were very emotional, and the musicality was rich. Okay, and it was in the early 2000s, and back then, uh, what was going on around was upaw music. I don't know if you're familiar with upaw music.
I'm
It
actually
was
not familiar with that.
Yeah, it was
Very
what
cool
we term
genre.
here. Yeah, what the term that we coin here is upaw. It was actually rap metal.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
that's the
New
time we're
metal
in.
act.
New metal, no?
Yeah.
New metal.
Uh, the sound of corn, right? If I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
yeah, yeah.
It's just like that. And bands like Cheese or Queso were the in thing here, and you have also a aside from upaw, you have another genre that was coming up. It was what the term was, pogi rock. Okay,
Mm,
pogi rock was a male fronted band, okay, who had good looks, and the songs were all about, love, and it was also powerful, of course, for the youth back then. But we were like counterculture. Okay? We're
mhm.
more into well, we were fronted by uh, a girl, and back then it was in that time, during that time, particular time in the early 2000s, no, a female fronted band was not that, in. You have although you had bands like Imago, but they were already established.
Mhm.
Okay, but we were more into the serious stuff of songwriting. Okay, so let me ask the other ones. No? They're the other Katu and Wincy would like to share. It seems like I'm hugging the mic or something.
Yeah,
So
introduce
please do
yourself,
share. Yeah.
Tim.
So yeah, so I'm Wincy. I'm the bassist of Narda, and sometimes a
Mm.
songwriter also. And Thanks for having us. And yeah, we've been a band for around. We were active in the music scene for like 5 years since 2002 in so many different iterations because and recently during the pandemic we got signed we got a distribution deal under Island Records Philippines
Okay.
or it's an offshoot of Universal Music.
Music group.
Yep, UMG.
Okay.
So we were really a DIY band back then. Really do it yourself. We were pretty much printing our own album sleeves, and it's our first time to work with a corporation. So all our songs now are under technically the Universal Music Group. Our whole 50 plus song catalog, and now that we're living in different parts of the world. JV, our guitarist, lives in Prince Edward Island in Canada. This is also very interesting because how do we
Yeah,
make music if we're like miles away from each other
right.
and we have families and kids, you know? And sorry, as I was saying, Ed Ibarra, our other guitarist, lives in Santa Clarita in California.
Okay.
Katwo lives in Manhattan, our singer. And the others are still here in the Philippines, but living in different cities in the Philippines.
Hmm.
Like Tani is from Marikina, I'm from Makati. Nico Africa is from, our guitarist is from Pasig. Ryan is from Quezon City. Jep is from, Jep, our synth player, is
QC.
QC also. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, technically in different cities, but here in Manila, that that's close. No, it just differs uh in time where if you find yourself in the rush hour, that's a world of a difference compared to when back then you had a fight when Manny Pacquiao had a fight. Anyway,
Yeah.
because you can get
So,
to one city to another and just fast if Manny
Right.
Pacquiao had a fight. Anyway, Wincy, you were saying?
yeah, so it's a really fun group now because we decided to sort of do this reunion of sorts,
Mhm.
semi reunion, because we're not gigging, but we're making lots of new music
Right.
under Universal
Islander.
Music Group,
Okay.
and we've signed on to them for the next 7 years. Hopefully, we can create songs in the next 7 years.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Tani or Katwo, can you introduce yourselves too?
Katwo.
Mauna ka na, go.
Okay. And Tani Santos, guitarist for the band's second album, Disco to Leon. So yun, from Marikina. So yun. So I joined the band, ano ba, audition with Ryan. Then the rest is history. Ang ganun. Yun na yun.
Parang nabitin ako dun ah. This is...
Kasi ako, fan talaga ako ng Narda ever since.
Mm.
I have their EP, album. So, unfortunately, hindi ako masyado nakakapanood ng gig nila. Bira lang.
Mm.
Tapos, parang
Strict ang parents niya.
strict ang parents Oh. Tapos, ano ba yan? Parang, we have common friends. Si Chris Ramos. Parang, so, nabalitaan, they need a guitar player. So, Chris referred me to the band. So, yun naman. Awa na Diyos, natanggap naman nila ako. So, yun.
So it must be like a surreal experience to be able
Sobra.
to like
Sobra
like,
yung
be with the people
tipong,
that you admire.
so, yung tipong, yung pag tinutugtog namin yung songs from the EP, para lang ako nagko-cover.
Ah,
Kasi hindi ko naman naabutan yun di ba? So, nakakatuwa, di ba? Yung fan ka ng band, tapos nasali ka doon.
Tapos
ngayon.
sali ka din sa mga creative process nila for like future songs too. So parang it's like a
Yes.
180,
Yes,
no?
actually,
Uh,
Tani was the one who wrote Milya,
Oh, okay.
which we'll be
mm,
talking about, right, for this episode.
Yeah, we
yes, yes.
will.
Mm.
Pero bago yon, si Katwo naman. Mag-introduce ka naman po sa aming mga listeners.
Hello. I'm Katwo Puertollano. I am the singer for ever since. I'm like Ryan is essentially Ryan and I have been together with the band from Lillian to the last album. So yeah, I've that's who I am, and that's what I do.
Oh. And I wanted to ask, how did you come up with the band name Narda?
Ryan.
Well, actually, it came from the super heroine Darna.
Mm.
That's her name when she's not the superhero. When
Mm-mm.
she's a human being, Narda. And if you're familiar with that graphic novel, no character from Mars Ravello, um, Narda is unlike Darna. Darna is like the Wonder Woman of the Philippines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Narda is human and she's crippled. Actually,
Mm.
she's a cripple and she needs her brother, yeah, to help her out with stuff. So in a way, she's vulnerable. She's a vulnerable being. Within her lies the power in to be right
Mm-hmm.
superhero. So I just like the character. Okay, Darna is the one all and powerful, right? But Narda is the one actually who is empowerment. But the power is within. So I that irony, I like that. And people know more about Darna, but what's her alter ego? I would like everyone to know about her. Yeah, well, people got familiar with Narda, hopefully with us. But anyway, another band made it more popular. It's the song by Kamikaze.
Oh, it's okay. We can all share
Yeah.
naman. So you talked about
But that's the history behind Narda. Yeah.
so that's the history behind the name. Yun nga. I think though with even like
Behind
whenever bands are
behind the
derived
name.
when bands are deriving
I
like
shared it to the
names, yeah.
guys and
Oh, I think Ryan froze. Sorry.
nawala ba ako? Teka.
Yeah. Sorry, Prim. What were you saying?
I was just going to comment that when bands are coming up with names to call themselves, it's usually derived from something that they really admire. And so um, I've noticed like with your song, especially with Milya, you're deriving it from things that are quite close to you and vulnerable, but have like a bigger picture. Kumbaga, si Narda, even though she's just someone who's like very vulnerable, not someone you would expect as a superhero, when she like becomes Darna, or like when you are through your songwriting process deriving like inspiration from your like either childhood or like from the events that you are going through life, when that's transformed into music, parang yun ang Darna mo, right? That's like your full expression. That is like who you are, or at least that's my interpretation of some of the songs. But speaking of like other influences for all of you, because there's like 8 members, correct, in Narda, right?
There's eight
There's
of us now.
probably yeah, there's probably a lot of different likes and dislikes in terms of music influences. So I know that Ryan mentioned like Oasis and the Beatles as a huge impact on like the sound of Narda. Are there any other influences that you or artists or musicians that you look up to that inspire your songwriting writing process?
Yeah, us being 8 members, in a band, I think sometimes it's hard to find a common thread, but we're all big music geeks. Like we
Mhm.
can talk about music for hours and hours, especially Katu. Katu's such a big music geek, and she loves all sorts of genres from hip hop to shoegaze to electronica. But I
Mm.
think the one common thread all eight of us have is OPM. We're really big. Ryan is practically a walking encyclopedia on OPM music,
Oh, I'll
like
have to
like
ask
really
you for
deep
some
cuts,
suggestions.
like stuff I don't even. I would consider myself a geek myself, an OPM geek. Like,
Mm.
but Ryan knows like really the deep cuts from way back when in the 60s or the 70s, and this is not just Apo Hiking Society and Hot Dog and Cinderella stuff. He knows like deeper stuff. Even uh, the 80s new wave and punk underground scene of the 90s. Bands I have not heard of or I was too young to know about, Ryan knows. And I think yeah, the Narda sound is very Filipino, and I think
Mhm.
that's a testament to how much we love OPM music. We're all big nerds. We nerd out on OPM.
Oh, I would love to like pick your brain and just know like what other artists or musicians to listen out for, because I think that it's so hard, especially in an
Mm-mm.
industry that is very saturated, to continue to have your own sound, but kind of also balance that with, are we marketable while also preserving like who we are, what we want to promote, those kind of things. I think that's always a challenge with musicians. Um, Especially if you're independent and then you're signing on to a label, right? Um, but I want to kind of go back with your background. Wincy, I read that you had dabbled in like filmmaking at one point. Does that also influence your creative process here with the band?
Oh yes, actually, I when I was still figuring myself out as a filmmaker or as a director, I practiced. I learned my chops by making music videos for Narda.
Okay.
One of
Mm.
my first music video I ever did was for a Narda song. I was still in school. It's called
Mm.
Leave. It's for a song called Leave. And then after that, I got to direct some other bands.
Okay.
And Ryan also directs. So and Katwo is also an animator. So I guess filmmaking and animation, we're different. We're all sorts of different artists in Narda. And yeah,
Wow.
I could say that actually it's quite the reverse. Actually, I Narda influenced my filmmaking. Actually,
Okay. Gotcha. And then what, for all of you, what do you feel, or what do you think was the catalyst that made you say, I want to pursue this full time? Like, I want to deeply engross myself in the music industry. I want to go forth with Narda as a band.
I don't think none of us really made it a full time job. It's
Mm.
it's a very finicky industry, especially when you're in the Philippines. Not a lot of musicians will make it big and can make it as their full time job. So a lot of us
Mhm.
did keep our careers, and then Narda is something that is career adjacent to what we do.
Okay.
But it is something that, in spite of, tama ba? In spite of, yeah, we still pursued. Unless, like, no, like, what do you guys think? Is that, do you feel like that's an accurate description of,
Yeah,
yeah?
music industry in the Philippines here, it's, well, you can make it, no, but a lot of factors, and it's also a way of how we also write songs and do production. We do our own thing,
Mhm.
and then we back to the group, and then we have something, something new, something to experience, and that's why most likely that's the that's the fuel that we had for writing more songs. It's because of the experience that we have other than the band. You know,
Yeah. And
as
yeah,
much as we like to make it full time,
and it's
that
tough
didn't happen,
breaking into the scene
right?
as Prim. I just like to add breaking
Mm.
into the scene, breaking into the mainstream is super tough, really tough.
Mhm.
Only a few can make it.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I bet.
It's really hard, especially here in the Philippines, to
Mhm.
be able to break
Mm.
through, to be able to produce one hit. It's close to
Right.
impossible.
Yeah. Pero dapat patuloy pa rin, right?
Mm.
Yun.
Um, ayun,
For the
Well,
love.
for the love of OPM.
For the love of
again,
OPM.
For the love of OPM. And I think sometimes
that's
it
why
can also. Oh, I'm so sorry. You were speaking, Kuya.
that's why we're still here now. It's more for ourselves. Ang ganun eh. It's more about writing for ourselves eh. And of course, our listeners, those who appreciate Narda and hopefully those who will get to discover Narda, at least get a taste of what we bring to the table. But most importantly, it's how we ourselves, how we grow as songwriters or as music producers. For me, it's just hearing the song, just hearing
Mhm.
the new song, just hearing how we can make something. A lot of things in store for next year. Actually, actually, Milya, we recorded Milya last year pa, right? Tama.
Oh,
Mm.
Tama.
Last year
We
pa.
only released it now. We
wow.
recorded last year. Yeah, and uh, in the thick of things, di ba, it was only released now, because of yung Christmas back then ay
Mm.
yata yung Christmas release rin tayo. Emilia was up pero ewan ko nagkaano sa schedule eh. So that's why it is
Right.
only being released now. We recorded it last year actually.
So yeah, let's actually talk about Milya. So Milya was written by Tani, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Tani, walk me through the process of how Milya came to be. Because when I first heard it, it was something that I'd never heard of before. But upon like repeat listening, it's like an homage to kind of your childhood or like your family, right?
More
Kind
on
of?
the family. More
Yeah,
on
more
for the
family.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, paano ba? Parang last year, so last year ba tayo parang nag-start ng catch up, tama 'di ba?
Yeah.
20 pandemic
Last year.
last year. So, Katwo wrote a song, then Wincy wrote a song, Ang Buhay. Then parang naisip ko parang gusto ko mag-contribute rin. Pero hindi ko naisip na maging single. Parang ang idea sana more on as a B-side or a bonus track for a single. So, I wrote a song, ayun nga, Milya. So, naisip ko, I want to involve my kids sana. So, parang more on wordplay lang siya eh. Kumbaga parang for me parang wala namang ganun talagang malalim na meaning. Wordplay lang eh. So, I wrote it. So, basta ang rules, nandun yung dalawa kong kids, pati yung mga pinsan nila. So, yun. So, rhyme lang. Tas, although, kailangan rin i-match yung ka-rhyme nung sa mga kids kung ano yung nagre-represent sa kanila. Then, I gave it to Wincy. So, yun. Maganda yung areglo. So, parang technically, I wrote it as a B-side or bonus track lang sana. Kaso syempre, magaling yung mga kabanda ko. So, napaganda nila yung kanta. So, yun. Unfortunately, hindi lang na-release last year kasi parang medyo wrong timing kung Christmas. So, ngayon na-release.
Yeah, actually, what's interesting about Milya
Mm.
is when Tani approached me to if I could like help him work on his song. I've always known Tani to be like someone who likes heavy guitars, Smashing
Mm-hmm.
Pumpkins, Oasis. But he told me na, how about we make the song, or we make this song without guitars? So I was surprised. Parang wow, what instrument is there left? So I was thinking, should we use a piano or? I mean, there have been Narda songs that don't use guitars
Right.
before, but it's very rare. It's a very guitar-driven band. But for Milya, you will not hear a single guitar on Milya, and so when I was thinking of the arrangements for the song, I was a fan of this band called PSAP, PSAPP,
Mhm.
and they had a genre called Toytronica.
Oh yes, that's very popular in like British rock, like
Yes,
the
exactly.
60s,
Yeah.
70s, right? Yeah.
Yes. So it's a genre where you get toy instruments, found
Mhm.
objects in the house. So I'm also a musical arranger. I do
Okay.
scores for advertising and stuff. So I have some
Mhm.
instruments here, percussions, pianos, toy pianos. And during the lockdown, we were with our families, and most of my bandmates have kids, and they had a lot of toy instruments lying around. So for a change, I just played this piano track over Tani's lyrics. I
Mhm.
had to phrase it, and I added the melodies, and then I gave it to it was just a simple arrangement. I just had a small bass drum going 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and then the piano track, and then toy instruments that I had, like cymbals, and I had a glockenspiel. Then I gave it to Ryan, and then Ryan produced it again. So it's like there was a two-way process.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
I put in my inputs first, and then when I gave it to Ryan, it became a whole different new thing. I heard he inserted found sounds like snippets of of his kids. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I heard like laughter. I felt like I heard like I think I heard like some coins or some crinkling of some
Yeah, and
sorts. Just like very unorthodox instruments.
yes,
Yan.
exactly. Poker chips. Yeah, those.
Poker
Yeah,
chips.
poker chip. Yeah. Yeah.
And it got weirder and weirder, quote unquote. Like,
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, because I will admit when I first heard the song, I was like, this is not something that I usually would listen to. But then as I repeated the song, I was like, oh, it's very interesting. You get to hear sounds that you thought you never heard the first time around. So it makes you want to keep listening to find all the Easter eggs, kumbaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a song full of Easter eggs.
Ganun
So
siya.
yeah, so when Ryan put in those weird sounds like poker chips, what else? Toy xylophones, I don't
Yeah.
know, finger
Bells.
cymbals. I recorded
Bells.
our cat also.
Ah.
Yeah.
So I got my wife got our cat and then put her in front of the mic, and we
Mm.
had our cat sing in
Oh
one of the
wow. Na-feature
instrumental
pala yung
parts, and
pusa.
it just
Ganun.
evolved into this really weird Toytronica track.
Yeah. Kasi Wincy is the most flexible with song writing among us na uh, okay yung una at first when Tani, I think when I heard it, hindi ko pa narinig yung song, but when Wincy interpreted it with the first layer of production, biglang boom. Wow, nakita ni Wincy yon, yung ganon.
Mhm.
Yung and that's what I like about Wincy. And kumbaga with what we have now is parang it's a canvas, and then you lay your own work, and then what interpretation you have there, sige go, and then batuhan kami. Yun eh. So, okay, it's throwing the ball. No, now the ball is in your court. What will you do? No, how will you make the song more interesting? So, my interpretation naman is more of like a magical mystery tour. Parang ganon. Like, again, go back to the Beatles. No, it's like
Mhm.
it's a song about kids. Yun yung alam ko. So, why not make it really an adventure, a trip, no,
Mhm.
for everyone. So the first thing that I recorded after hearing Wincy's first layer, yung production niya, yung piano, ganon, and then to make it an adventure talagang pupunta with other, other places. Just like so, with the choruses, I added in a safari kind of sound. I put their hand drums, boom, bududung, 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 yung mga ganun. So, parang from glockenspiel to bum bada bum to Africa ka, yun. Kaya okay kasi those are the stuff my kids are watching, di ba? With Ryan's Toys Review, yung mga ganon, no?
Mhm.
Um, all the things that they're watching, one time they're here, and then the next thing they're in outer space, and then now they're in France, yung mga ganon. So it's just like that interpretation na this is, di ba, nasa in your nursery, and then the next thing, di ba, it's like reading a story to your kid. Na then you go to an African adventure, and then you go to somewhere weird. Yun nga na yun with the laughter, yun yung in my interpretation is parang Yellow Submarine na 'di ba
Right.
yung ha 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 yung mga ganun na 'di ba what they have in yung mga yung mga characters in yung mga psychedelic like ano to like in Yellow Submarine, like in Pink Floyd, yung mga ganun, no?
Mhm.
Mga characters that you have there. So that's why I added yung laughter. Sino ba yun? Is it a good guy or a bad guy? Basta
Right.
it's
It's
a
a little
guy. It's just
unclear. Yeah.
it just sounds, and then added the bells thing, and then yun, it's more of production. You mentioned Easter eggs. So uh that's the discipline that we have in our production.
Mhm.
One thing I like with working with Narda, working with these guys, uh, are yung meticulous in song parts. Ganon. It's just a 3-minute song, but in that 3-minute song, each part, you know, has its own character. Whether it's whether it's a sound, timbre, with syncopation, with uh, how the instruments are played, when it's played. So we owe that to music production because of the Beatles, because of the Eraserheads, because of Rico Blanco. You know, that's why we take it seriously. If it's just a 3-minute song, maybe it's a children's song, but we put in all the elements. So that's why it's just like you want to hear it back again because and every time you hear it, you find something new.
Right. There's a different takeaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you can concentrate on the chorus and then, uy, they did something like that. So much like what the E-heads did. That's why we really appreciate the E-heads.
Mhm.
Each time we hear the record of the E-heads, we still get something out of it. No? Because it's rich musically. So that's
Mhm.
what we also do in our production. That's why now, even though if we do not gig anymore, it's fun. No, what we do now is fun because we're now concentrated on the music. Because back then, it's music, your production, it's music it's songwriting, it's production, and then the gigging.
Mhm.
Now the
A lot
gigging
of
gets you. The gigging really gets you because it's the traffic, it's staying up late. But now it's more of we're concentrating on the production, on the music itself, right? So that's the time when when you understand, 'di ba, how the Beatles were, 'di
Mhm.
ba, after their touring and then Sergeant Pepper's and then they were a studio band, right?
Right.
So music for them was creating, uh, just like in theater, no, you're creating a whole multiverse, no, of everything. So that's why, no, you watch out for the Easter eggs because that production is rich. So we're happy that now we're doing everything back again without gigging, but I think this is what we came up for. No,
Mhm.
I think for that goes for everyone. It's not
Mhm.
because if we will earn from gigging, will be famous, right? I think primarily it's the music.
Tsaka,
It's
tsaka no deadlines. No
no
deadlines.
deadline.
Kailangan mag-produce ng ganito.
Yun.
You
No
have
deadlines
artistic
or
liberty. Mm.
And also to
own
add,
and sound, 'di ba? Wala yung dapat tungkol sa ganito, 'di ba? It's supposed to be heartbreak, ganyan lang. No, no, no. It's now whatever sound you like. Yeah, Wincy, sorry.
yeah, and also we're at an advantage right now because when we signed up for Island Music Philippines, Island Records Philippines, sorry. Uh, when we signed the contract, it said we need to come up with 5 songs
Mhm.
at the least, at the most. Sorry, at least 5 songs in the 7 years that we've signed up. But we gave them our 50 plus song catalog, so that's like 10 times more than our contract.
Right.
You're right, yeah,
You
yeah. So
delivered on the deliverable, over
yeah,
delivered on the
we're done
deliverable.
with the deliverable.
Dami na.
So, but now we have 6 years left with them,
Mhm.
and it's unlimited uploads. Like we can write a
Okay.
song every week, and they can put it in their servers without us
And
on their own on their own with using their own resources. Not
oh, good. And it's like you still have control over like how you want to sound that
yes.
or no, that's
So
good.
I think
Yeah,
this is the most creative time
that is
For Narda. Strangely,
Strangely.
this
you
is
have
the most create. We are at our most creative.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
like full agency. That's like almost unheard of, especially for um, with such labels as like for Island Records or like even if they're a subset from like Universal Music to have that agency to do that. Especially when they also have other objectives that they need to meet. It's
Mhm.
not just the quality of the music, but of course there's like the bottom line, etc. But Katu, we didn't heard your thoughts about Milya. What were your thoughts when you got some of the parts of the song sent over to you?
Oh, it's interesting because I'm 9 months pregnant right now. I could give birth
Oh
at
wow.
any point. Um, so I think it's resonating with me in a very different way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember the label was saying, "Wow, this song is very artistic."
Mm-hmm.
Sabi na yan.
Tama.
Sabi na yan.
Sinabi
It's
Di ba
nila,
a
naman?
or nice way,
Sabi
no?
na yan.
Sabi is a nice way of saying
it's
very
very
different.
artistic.
Artistic, organic.
Oo, ganyan. So, like, so it
Sabi na
means that
yan.
it's gonna be, I mean, obviously, we've piqued your interest enough because, like, you have very good taste in music. It's like, parang it's like, ganun ang Narda, critical darlings, um, flop sa masses. Ganyan.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You only need a few believers to
Exactly.
appreciate your music, right?
And
Exactly.
it's a wonder, like someone from Florida, right, of all places, like heard our music and it's happening now, right?
No, but but that's the magic of like they said, the most creative part of Narda right now. And I think it's so interesting that it came from Tani. And actually, so Narda, we talk every week, except for the last few weeks, because I'm literally so exhausted every night.
Mhm.
Um, but like it's so interesting to hear fatherhood from their point of view because you kind of listen to, well, at least in my perspective, I'm mostly surrounded by women and their perspective on parenthood. But listening to Tani and listening to Ryan, like they're very proud of their kids. They're obviously very good fathers, which is like a really rare perspective into Filipino parenthood. Because we've been like traditionally very matriarchal, which is awesome.
Mhm.
um, but women are also judgy AF. And like the expectations for motherhood is extremely
Extremely
insane,
high.
extremely high. But you've
Mhm.
got these like very practical, creative men just coming into it and giving their thoughts. So I think that's reflected in the way as I inwardly go into the journey of birth, because I'm gonna have a home birth, I'm gonna have unmedicated. So when
Mhm.
I listen to Milya, it's such a sweet song, and it's such a great, it's a testament to knowing these guys. Oh my god, I've known these guys in their teens and now they're
Oh
fathers.
wow.
It's crazy. Some of them. Well, some of them. No, so but I've seen their transformation from being, the idiots that they were, that we all were when we
Mhm.
were young, to becoming these amazing, thoughtful people. So I think that's what Milya for me is, like the ability to transform and become a parent and creatively packed, and it's such a gentle. It's also like a Christmas tune, like all the
Mhm.
unusual use of instruments in there,
Right.
but it's for me, it just embodies what Filipino fatherhood is like today, which is really different from the generation of our parents, and it's such a big, beautiful promise to the next generation. That's why I think about when I hear Milya. Even though you hear a woman sing it, it's a very masculine song for me na transformative.
Mhm. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts, Ate Katwo. And I hope your baby comes out
Same,
healthy and everything goes well with
same.
you.
I
Yeah.
don't know what's gonna happen.
Mhm. But
Crazy.
I hope everything goes well.
Thank
Therefore,
you.
Tani, back to you because you were the one who wrote Milya. When the end product um, came about, was it what you expected when you first wrote the lyrics, or completely different, like a 180 from what you thought it would be?
Hmm, nag-exceed pa nga, eh, nag-exceed. Sobrang daming nangyayari, eh. Kasi ang parang ang gusto kong mangyari dun parang more on nursery rhymes, eh, nursery rhymes. So, pumasok naman yung pagka-nursery rhymes, with additional instruments pa, eh. Kumbaga naging talagang pang-single. So,
Mhm.
nag-exceed. Kumbaga, ako nga parang ako na nga yung nagsulat, hindi ko, pini-pitch sa kanila na maging single, eh, as ano lang, B-side lang. Kumbaga, for the sake na may ma-share lang akong kanta. Ano yun, may maambag lang. Yun
Mm.
lang. Tapos, wala, ang gandang-ganda ng pagka-produce nila, Wincy and Ryan, yung sa instrumentation, sila mga suggestions nila. Talagang nag-iba yung kanta from sobrang rough demo na alam ko pinasa ko kay Wincy acoustic guitar na ano lang, eh, sobrang
Mhm.
Ando pa yung original drums nun eh. Sa demo mo.
ah,
'Di ba yung sa demo mo, chik chik
A
chik chik chik
revelation.
chik. Sinama pa namin yun.
oo. Gano'n,
Sinama ko
gano'n,
pa
gano'n.
rin yun dun eh. Yung chik
Talaga,
chik chak
talaga.
chik chik, yun yung original sa demo mo eh.
Ayun, so yun. So ang galing yung pagdadagdag ni Wincy and Ryan na kumbaga ako never ko naisip na gano'n ang lalabas. So naging single. So sobrang thankful ako sa kanila na yes. So
And
yun,
I
yun.
agree end product. And
Cheers naman. Thank you.
I wanted to go back because it's kind of like an interesting part of your band is that you're based in different parts of the world, right? And usually with bands, it's easier, right, to have them all in one spot so you can record, you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. You don't have to consider like time zones. But with you all, there's like that extra factor. You not only have like a family you have to deal with, personal lives, but you also have to deal with these time zones when creating these tracks. So how do you all make that a concerted effort to, get everybody in the loop, make sure everyone's thoughts are being heard, nothing is like lost in translation, especially given that you're all not in one place?
Well, for one thing, we meet every week,
Mm-hmm.
almost every week, Saturdays or Sundays, and we're very active on our Facebook. We have a very active Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like a family also.
Actually, you might be surprised,
More
no?
than a band, we're a family, I guess. So
Kasi when we meet, actually, we do not talk about the songs actually in production. Yeah, I actually pahabol na lang eh. It's only the last 5 minutes eh. What we talk about more architecture, yung ganyan, 'di ba? Yung stalking,
Chismis.
stalking people.
Culture. We talk a lot about culture. The music is something we actually do parang on our own. Kasi like we pass
Mm-hmm.
tracks to each other or we write a song and then yun nga, parang the process that Tani was talking about. Like we'll pass it to like different people. Pero we just enjoy each other's company. We talk more about
Yeah,
brutalist
other stuff.
architecture than like than,
'Di ba?
than
Parang
most
the
people.
meeting agenda, 'di ba? Housekeeping lang muna.
May
'Di
housekeeping lang
ba?
kami.
Housekeeping lang. Housekeeping lang. Kaya
Mm-hmm.
housekeeping, ito yung what we need.
Releases, social
Yan,
media
okay. Okay
stuff,
ba 'to?
ganyan.
Some ideas. Okay, sige,
Oo,
let's look. Okay,
okey
tapos
yan, cool.
with the song, ganito, that's right. Well, something's coming up, no? Like the vinyl production of Discotillion. Okay, so ano yung what are the necessary files needed, yada yada yada. Yun lang.
Mm-hmm.
Konti lang, and then reference to a song. Reference, okay, I'll play this. O kunyari, In of Black Sabbath o AC/DC, ganyan, or Deep Purple, ganyan. Okay, yun lang. I want that sound, o ganyan. And then after that, 'di ba, it's 80% under the sun. Politics, ano na, culture, art, whatever, 'di ba? It's more of like that. So, yun, siguro what keeps us going is that friendship, yun lang, interest. And then maybe actually what works what works pa nga now that we're in different cities, in different countries, I think maybe we're mindful of each other and respecting yung time that these guys are um they're staying up late. So therefore, let's not waste their time. Or at least these guys are expecting something, so I have to record this. Di ba? Yung ganun eh.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas dati, you're there. Anyway, you're here eh. You have that mentality. Right?
and
You're
also
here. Di ba?
Mm-hmm.
to add, strangely, 2021 is the most productive year of Narda ever for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were in a span of 12 months, we were able to upload our entire catalog. That's one
Mm-hmm.
on Spotify, so you can backtrack to song number one until the most to Milya. In that was just done this year, remastered, and the whole the whole catalog, the whole cabinet of songs is now on Spotify and all streaming services. That's one. Number two, we were able to release 3 singles in this year alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then we recorded an 18, 17, 18, 16 track album
Mm-hmm.
for a vinyl release. So imagine all
Wow.
of those things.
In just the
Without
span of
see,
1 year.
We were able
without
to
seeing each other.
without seeing each other
That's
physically.
that's incredible.
Yes.
Without without studio work, actually
Yeah.
recorded all at home.
So that's probably around 20 to 25 songs maybe.
And the
That we
fact
were
that you like don't see each other face to face or in person, and the amount of trust that it requires to make sure that each part of the song, each album, the way that it is set up, the way that it is going to be promoted, everyone's input is part
I
of
think
that.
because
Yeah.
we've worked together for so many years and we were so
Mhm.
DIY. Like Katwo was in charge of the graphic design work. I was in charge of writing press releases and doing the music videos and
Mhm.
cataloging all the our PR materials. Ryan was in charge of songwriting, whatever. JV was in charge of like printing the albums. We know how we know how to work with each other. I mean, through the years, although we've disbanded for quite some time, it's we're back in the groove and we sort of know each other's working styles, and it's so easy now to work. It's so easy to work with these guys because it's automatic.
It's like the
It's really something automatic for me.
Yeah.
it's like kind of like riding a bike, you know. You've
Yes.
been doing it for so long, and then the pandemic kind of allowed you for that extra time to be like, okay,
Yeah,
let's revisit it again. Yeah.
yeah, it's really appreciating yung style of each other, because when things got funny back then, 'di ba? It was full of emotions, right? This guy quitting on us, so you have to trudge and go, okay, proving yourselves that you can still do it even without them. And then go, and then after a while, with the disbandment, you learn how to appreciate each other again. And you really miss that sound that you once had. And now that you're back and you have that sound again, and you know how to we made it this way again, back again, and now you have this sound. And then with all the experiences we have, it's everything, because we're one big production team. Right? You have Wincy,
Mhm.
who's into production, to filmmaking. You have Katwo, who's into graphic arts. You have JV, who's a great artist. He's an architect, so he can really illustrate well. Oh, and then you have Af, who's also into photography. All right, you have
We
Mhm.
have
Jet,
Ed, who's a pastor,
yeah,
who's a youth minister.
spiritually.
Oh,
Spiritual.
yeah, the
Yeah,
We
spiritual
have a
Tani.
monster.
spiritual director.
Yeah,
Would you
Tani, who's
believe?
really
All
great with.
bases covered.
Yeah, Tani is really great with production management. Yeah, he
And
keeps
doing
everyone
magic.
in check. Yung ganun. Yeah, incredible. It's one. We're like a factory, like we function now well, and we know each other's styles. And of course the
Stop and shop,
sound.
you know.
Oh, one stop and shop. And of course the sound. Maybe it's the sound. You really get inspired with the sound. It's what you hear, and then they execute it really well, and that's the sound that you're trying to get, right? So, yan, nawala ba ako?
No,
Yan, nawala.
that was a good answer.
Kasi kaya hindi ka na tumigil. Ayan. And it's yun, the sound really is inspiring. So that's why that keeps you going. Okay? And,
Mhm.
and, and for me, it's a challenge, no? Na they get that right, so I have to get things right also. No? Because the sound is so beautiful. So that's why
Mhm.
you have to make it as much as possible. Di ba? You would want to hear that song over and over again. No, it doesn't matter if people is going to hear it. No, it doesn't matter. For as long as we are happy, for as long as we hear it, and hopefully our children will. Yun nga sabi ko sa kanila eh. With the Spotify thing, it's actually our museum for our kids. Yun lang siya
Mm.
eh. It's all about that. It's all about archiving all the work that we have done. And someday, hopefully, our kids will appreciate what we have been working for. Actually, kagabi, yun, my kids, they began exploring yung mga songs na ginawa namin yun, with my other band. And my wife, Teke Romantics, biglang, wow, na ano yung mga, amaze yung mga bata because Mama and Papa are in Spotify.
Mhm,
Ngayon
right.
lang nila nalaman. So, anyway, mamaya siguro mag-Spotify ulit sila. So, with Narda, it's another case. No? More than anything else, we would want to satisfy ourselves.
Mhm.
Yun eh. It's listening to your music. Yun. And then, well, we didn't make the band for someone to listen in Florida. No? It just so happened that you're there and wow. Kami talaga, never in our wildest dreams na, may makakarinig. Ano yung ibang countries na nakikinig sa atin?
Yeah,
Katu?
strangest.
Uruguay.
So there's
Uruguay.
We have a CD baby account also. We've
okay.
had we've had listeners who bought our entire discography, and he's Pinoy in Alaska of all places.
Oh yeah, there are actually a ton of
We have
people in
listeners
Alaska.
from we have Narda listeners from Egypt, Uruguay, Africa.
Wow,
Yeah.
My
It,
favorite, Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. Wow.
yes.
Parang
Yeah.
Miss Universe.
Strangest. Yeah.
But I think that's
We
just the beauty of like. But I think that's just the beauty of the music today. It's a little bit more accessible.
Yeah.
yeah.
It
And
also,
what's yeah, go.
sorry, I was just to say, it also reflects the diaspora of the.
Mm-hmm.
We were, we're not like an international sound, eh.
No,
Diba? Like
not
we're
at all.
very Filipino. So like across the pond, like in Jersey City, we were looking at our stats, and I was like, you know what? We could fill a small bar with just the listeners in Jersey City. I think we'll be okay. We'll be okay. We've had gigs where there were just four people who showed up, and Narda shows up in full force. But it really is a testament also to like the Filipino diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which no one really talks about as an important factor in like making sure that our culture is strong. Because at the end of the day, Narda is not just about the sound, diba? It's really a feeling, but it's also culture. We're like such big Filipino culture geeks
Mm-hmm.
that but you can almost follow like our age group and where they've
Mm-hmm.
been, places like Azerbaijan and Poland and Paraguay and Uruguay, and like
Right.
sort of thread a story there. Like what brought them to that place? What brought them to Alaska and some northern regions of Canada? Why
Mm-hmm.
are they there? And a lot of parts of the Middle East. And I think that's such an interesting way to sort of kind of understand identity and culture and music
Right.
well.
And to realize that we're all interconnected in some form, like a
Yeah, and
listener. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Wincy.
I think more Filipinos leave the country for jobs and livelihoods abroad.
Mm-hmm.
The music itself is what they bring as a reminder of home. And from what we've only been in Spotify for less than a year, the entire Narda discography, and Spotify Wrapped just released their
Right.
yesterday, 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
ago actually, and we were looking at the stats, and we were really surprised, like what kind of listeners did we get in the last, let's say, 10 months, 10 or
Mm-hmm.
9 months. And wow, from kids discovering Narda music just now, discovering our first EP, or our unreleased tracks just now, to old fans who are no longer in the Philippines. It's a fascinating time to make music and to connect to people
Mm-hmm.
through our own music, through the music you make in your bedroom with your friends. It's really a surreal experience doing this.
Right. Music is allows us to really express ourselves in ways that just words itself cannot um,
Yes.
express. And I think that just goes to show how valuable it is to cherish the arts, to cherish the music, regardless of whether you are established or just starting out, or in your case, like reviving what has always been there, right? And for our listeners who are going to be tuning in to Musikariwa, do you have any messages that you'd like to impart on them, want to share with them? Whether that's advice, regards to music, any messages.
Hmm.
Tani?
Tani.
Ano ba? Follow us on Facebook.
Nag, nag-promote ka agad?
Promote ka agad?
Sorry.
Parang
Katu,
gaga.
katu,
No,
katu
I
na
think
lang.
I think
Katu.
I think for Musika Sariwa, tama ba? Musikariwa or
Musikariwa, yes.
Musikariwa listeners all over the world. I think we're super happy to be here. Narda is super excited to connect to like a huge group of like Filipino diaspora everywhere in the world. We hope na will bring you something nostalgic, something that reminds you of home. And yeah, like continue supporting Filipino music anywhere it's made, and especially OPM, because it really is a beautiful, beautiful treasure trove. And it is, as an immigrant myself, it is one of the proudest things I stand for is the quality of music that comes from the Philippines. And I hope that on your journey of self discovery, Musikariwa will be there for you and your dreams.
To ako naman to Musikariwa listeners, to our dearest Musikariwa listeners, I'm gonna be political about this. Vote for Lenny Robredo in the coming elections. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're entitled to your own candidate. Yes.
Half meant, half meant.
Half meant, half meant. That's true. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank
you're
you
entitled,
for.
but this is better. What Wincy
Yeah,
said is better.
they agree. I might as well use this platform, right? Vote for
Sure.
Lenny Kiko to 2022. But yeah, sorry. Aside from that, yeah, support OPM music because the Philippines is such an amazing place for music. I must say. I must say. We're like we're I think we're the best musicians in, if not in Asia, in one of the best musical cultures in the world. And with Spotify now and all these streaming platforms, I'm still discovering. Because what's great about Spotify na all these albums that I weren't able to acquire before are now available
Mm-hmm.
for like 150 pesos monthly, right? So
Mm-hmm.
all these albums by the Apo Hiking Society from the 70s that I've never heard of, all these back catalog tracks of the Eraserheads that I've never heard of, all these side projects of the Eraserheads that I'm only discovering now. There's so much good OPM music that you can find in Spotify, and yun ako, spread the word about OPM, listeners. Yun. And spread the word about Narda also. Because yes, we're coming up with, Ryan has a lot of new songs, and
Mm-hmm.
if God permits, we might we're teasing this. We might come up with our third album this 2020.
Ooh. Oh,
Might.
amazing.
Operative word is
Meron
might.
yan.
Meron yan. Okay, there you go. From
Meron
our
yan.
founder.
Ayan, confirmation yan
Confirmed,
ah.
confirmed, yeah.
Sa
Ayan.
band leader
Take it
niyo
to the
po.
bank.
So for our listeners, kasi our listeners, our fan base has always been wondering what's the third Narda album
Mm-hmm.
going to sound like, especially now. So we've always wondered that too. Na what kind, now that we're all pushing 40 and we've had different experiences, we're living in different cities, our musicalities are different, and siguro our skills have grown throughout the years. Then what would the Narda sound be in 2022?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Without
So
pressure.
I leave the pressure to the capable hands of Mr. Ryan Villena.
Yeah. Take it to the bank. For as long as for as long as Jeff's drums are here. because because fortunately, si Jeff, one of the members, he has an electronic drum kit.
Okay.
That's why things got really easier for all of us, no? Because we do not need a studio to record the drums. So his drum set has been here in my home for the past year already. And that's why it's assured that we should have one. His drums is just lying around here. Okay, so to all the listeners, thank you very much. It's an honor being here. Never in the wildest dreams diba, did we have listeners from abroad. So, yeah, please support OPM. OPM is very rich. OPM right now has a lot in store for everyone. So, uh, I've been listening to Filipino hip hop groups lately. Um, very good. No? Learn a lot
Mhm.
from them. Also, a lot of upcoming, bands who are really into songwriting, really into music production. Okay, so well, that's what we said, no? A decade ago, support the bands while they're still together,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And if things, well, they don't go their way, please support them. Still, right? Maybe one day they will be back together, just like how Narda is right now. So just continue supporting each other's music. A lot in store, a lot in store. So with Narda also, thank you for listening. Hope we continue um, to listen our back catalog, with whatever we have out there, and for sure whatever we will come up for years to come. So thank you very much.
Ikaw, Kuya Tani.
Tani, hindi ka pa pala
Ah,
tapos.
nabanggit na nila eh. So siguro stay safe and God bless.
Oo nga pala,
Yun na.
kalimutan namin yan.
Ah,
Get vaccinated. Get
Mhm.
vaccinated, everyone.
Yes. And I know you mentioned that a third album is in the works. Is there anything else that you would like to promote?
Yes, actually, we have a vinyl release coming up this January, February. Coming soon, very soon,
Coming up
actually.
soon,
January.
January.
January 2022. It's
Very
under
Mm,
soon.
Backspacer Records.
okay.
It's mastered by none other than Mr. Eli Buendia of the Eraserheads himself. Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Oh my
produced.
goodness.
It's mixed by Perth Salva and Boyet Aquino, and produced by our very own maestro, Mr. Ryan not Kayab, Ryan
Mr. V.
Mr. V.
Mr. V.
Ryan Musikahan. There you go.
Ah,
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah. Aside, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be Discotillion vinyl release. It will have the old tracks of Discotillion and some of the outtakes that were part of the demo, and now it's going to be part of the album. So watch out for that. This coming January, February. Let's see. But it's going to be released pretty soon. All right. Do watch out for that.
Oh, that'll be exciting. And I hope we can have you on our station maybe to guest or
Sure.
interview, or we can
Of
actually go through your
course.
whole discography and talk more about your
Yeah.
music process, no?
Yeah.
Hopefully one
Sure.
day. Um, and then before we go, I just have a request, just a small request. If you could maybe record or say the following stinger for the show. I know I messaged it on our Facebook chat, but it is essentially is, hi, we're Narda, and you're listening to Musikariwa here on Radyo Disiotso, kung saan angat ang Pinoy. That's our stinger. Um, but that'd be really awesome if that could
All right.
happen.
Maybe the four of us can say, "Hi, we're Narda," and
Yeah.
then
Oh yeah,
Katwo says the
absolutely.
rest of the
However
spiel.
you want to organize that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's on our group chat, right?
Alakado.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
sige.
on the
Okay, so
chat.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, we're Narda.
And you're tuning in.
Wag
And
mo na
you're
1, 2,
and
3,
you're
4.
yeah.
Marinig yung 4 eh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest.
Okay.
Hi, we're Narda. May rest. Dapat may rest.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. You wanna
Ikaw na,
practice?
Ryan, mag-countdown.
Okay, ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, we're
Hi,
Narda.
we're Narda.
Again,
Oh,
yeah.
kasi iba-iba. There's a
Iba yung
delay.
timing.
Iba-iba, may lag.
Or si Katwo na lang.
Just
Ikaw
or
na
line
lang.
na lang.
Or how about you could say,
Pwede.
or maybe,
Or line.
or maybe you could say like, maybe you could introduce yourselves. Hi, I'm Wincy. I'm Tani. I'm Katwo, and I'm
Ay,
Ryan.
we're
Right? No,
incomplete
and we're
lang.
Narda or no?
We're
Ay,
incomplete.
Huwag na.
Oh yeah, it's very
And
And we're
incomplete.
the
No?
guwapings.
Yeah, because there's the
Oo.
other members. Wag na lang. Oo.
We can do
Yeah.
it like Eraserhead style in
Okay, we
Toyang.
can do.
Toyang. This next song. And
So we can do
it's a
per
song
line.
that
Per line.
Yeah, or you could do per line. Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
for example, hi, we're Narda. I think, Ryan, you can do that. And then,
Sige.
oh, yun. Ilang lines ba to? Parang kasha naman ata.
Hi, we're Narda, and you're tuning into Musikariwa only here on Radyo Disiotso, kung saan angat ang Pinoy.
Feeling ko
Yeah.
yung angatang Pinoy, si Tani yun eh.
Ayan.
Ano yun? Okay, ako yung only here on Radyo Disiotso.
Sige.
Okay, game.
I can do hi, we're Narda.
Okay.
So ikaw,
sige.
ikaw Ryan yung, and you're tuning into Musikariwa.
Okay.
Sige. So I'll start. 3, 2, 1. Hi, we're Narda.
And you're tuning into Musikariwa.
Only here on Radyo Disiotso.
Kung saan angat ang Pinoy.
Yes. Thank you so
Thank you.
much,
Prem, thank you so much for having us.
Diba?
Thank you so much.
Isa pa?
Take two, take
Isa
two,
pa,
take two, take
teka,
two.
let me, let me,
Pabakmas
Ano?
naman. Pinoy ang angat.
Oh,
Saan?
I'll Satan. Marijuana.
let me, record again.
Okay.
Okay.
Sige.
Whenever you're ready.
3, 2, 1. Hi, we're Narda.
And you're tuning into Musikariwa.
Only here on Radyo Disiotso.
Kung saan angat ang Pinoy.
Ayun. Thank you so
Alright.
much,
Prem,
everyone.
salamat.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat po. For taking the time out of your busy schedules.
Yes.
To be
Our
here
pleasure.
to share your thoughts. This is I think I mentioned to Wincy earlier, and I think Tani, na dahil sa mga kanta ng mga Pilipino ay natuto akong magtagalog ng kahit konti lang.
Wow.
Mahusay.
Okay na
And
yan.
and so it's just always
Pet Malu.
and it's just always amazing to kind of just know like what goes on behind the scenes of a song, because I know a lot of work goes on behind the scenes that maybe a lot of listeners aren't aware of. And so to be able to have this opportunity to kind of know how you guys work as a team, as a band, to promote just really incredible, amazing music, it's always an honor. So I'm very thankful for that. Yeah. But I hope you have a wonderful day or a wonderful night sa mga taong
See you, Prem. Thank you so much for
Picture tayo.
Picture
Oh,
tayo.
sige, wait.
Sinong pwedeng mag-picture?
How do I screenshot the
Si
thing?
Katwo na, si Katwo.
All right.
Basta,
1, 2, 3. Yan o. Gaganda natin, guys.
See
All
you.
right. Thank you so much. Have a great day
Thank
or
you.
night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Ingat ka to.
Katwo sa
Ingat po.
Nakatu.